Well, I don't know what the guy's name is. He apparently visits a lot of people's shops, and kind of mishaps happen in his presence. Bozo or Gonzo or Tom L or I don't know, but he's been here for the last 24 hours. I even made accommodations for him. He's been staying right here in my back room, and he's been busy. So we got Project Carriage lock. Okay, so we kind of got a working model here. In the process of tuning it up, I realized I had to clear all the gunk out from underneath here because it kept wanting to move around on me. So you kind of got to fine tune it to where you got enough tension here where you need a minimal turn on this nut to tighten things up. Hopefully put like a Tommy bar in here, and just hopefully like a half a turn or less will tighten that up. But like I said, it's kind of a fine tuning job to see. That looks pretty good there actually. And you really got to be in the mood for this, but it actually inspired me to come down here and start doing a little work. But let's not neglect our guest, Gonzo, Bozo, or whatever. We had a simple little project here with two simple parts. So let's take this one first. It's a flat bar. It actually has a feature down here, but that's here nor there. So this is a half 13. So we drilled that out and tapped that. Now we got to make this block. Okay, we got two holes here, countersunk for cap head screws, and we got a 1/2 inch 13 up here, none of which need to be threaded. So making this piece, first of all, I got a little red marker and kind of darkened the areas I wanted to mark, and then I marked my centers, and hit a nail set, or kind of center punched everything. And important step there, I center punched all 3 locations. So I'm drilling these out. I drill this out, number 7 drill for 1/4 20, and this is something 64, 7/64 maybe for half 13. And so I drill this one, I drill this one, and I go to drill this one, and I'm on this face, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute, I thought I center punched all these marks. Oh well, I just gave it another center punch and went in. Well, that hole does nothing for us. We need this hole. So I threaded this half 13 all the way down. I threaded this 1/4 20 all the way through. Then I realized because of the properties of the cap head screw, I needed a little bit of a through hole in the top, because after the thread stopped, the screw kind of swelled. The screw kind of swelled after the thread stopped. And about that time I realized, well, these aren't even threaded, these are through holes. the threads go in the body of the lathe. So I drilled those through holes. So now I got this one here. I got it threaded. It's a 4-way half 13. I only threaded one direction. And I have it, my threaded rod on the piece, and I have it threaded up into here. And I'm trying to figure out how the hell this thing's going to work. And then it occurred to me that none of these holes are threaded. They're all through holes. So I had to look up what the through hole was for half 13. And it was a 1/16 over a ½ inch, and I didn't quite have that, but I found something with a shank that would go into my drill press, and so I managed that. I always could have put the forge awl on one of the lathes and drilled it out. I could have even bored it out, but anyway, the point is, no threads in this at all. I threaded every orifice on the face. And this part I made twice. The first one I made, I used the drill press to get the thread started square, plumb, square. Well, guess what? That was tapped crooked. So I did the second one and just tapped it all by hand, and it came out perfect. So gonzo, bozo, whatever, your bed's back there. Stay as long as you must. Like I said, I'm hoping to have a permanent bar here that I can just turn. You know, you turn from here. That would be engaged. And that would be, you know, free moving. So there's that totally unnecessary hole I drilled. There's my one of my copper wire springs is actually being utilized here and doing what it's supposed to do. There's not a lot of it's not being asked to do a lot. And I have one more over here, and that'll be doing basically the same job, only for the tailstock. Here's the Tommy bar for this one, for instance. And I still have to get this one tuned up. I need to stick a washer in here somewhere and get this thing to where it'll disengage here and be fully engaged about here. Because if you get too far out here, you're running into your carriage. But this is such an improvement over grabbing a wrench. It's just, you know, someone who doesn't understand couldn't understand. It's just so nice just to be able to move that lever and slide that tailstock up. Okay, we'll see what else we got to add to this. I haven't seen Bozo or Gonzo. We got a mirror here for him so he can check his wardrobe. You know, I understand he's a short fellow, short stature guy, so that ought to be good for him. And you know, there he is. I got a cord there in case he wants to hang himself. Okay, so I'm just gonna use this to start this, and then I'll finish it. Well, the vise isn't tied down, so maybe I won't use the vise. I got 6. I can't use the mini lathe. Okay. Let me turn this noise off. That last squirt really did some good, didn't it? This way I know I got a good start. That's about all I can do there. Yep, my hands can't do any more than that, but that gives me a straight start. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna hold that down. To use a wrench. I can use this table. Yep, so much for starting off straight. I think the vise is going to work better than this. Am I still straight? I think so. Let's roll in here. Maybe this vise is heavy enough to support this. Of course, I could always clamp it down. You know, easier said than done, I think. Okay, that's pretty straight. Yeah, I can't get a C-clamp on that baby. Okay, I gotta come up with something here. Hold on. Okay, I probably could have just mounted the darn thing for all that trouble. just doesn't look straight to me. Well, I can use one of my favorite chamfering tools here. I need to lift this up a little bit though. Okay, so I took one of these and knocked about an inch of it off and came up with this. Tapped half 13. I kind of over chamfered it, but there's still a good 4 or 5 threads there, so there's plenty of engagement. Now there's the piece that I'm going to attach to the lathe carriage, and I had this thing all laid out, had my holes marked. I even had them all center punched, and so I'm going to use 1/4 to attach this to the machine. And the countersink is a little small, so I'm going to have to, when I get the hardware for it, I'm going to put it in the lathe and turn them down so they'll fit in there. And then we got this hole, which is going to take this nut that joins these two together. And it's pulling up on the ways to lock. Okay, so I go to drill this hole, and I thought, man, I could have swore I center punched those already. But, you know, whatever. So I get the center punch out and I knock it, and I drilled it. So we now have a kind of a modified hole, and actually it's going to be a little beneficial when it comes to threading, because there's not quite so much material to cut through. But yeah, I was actually doing the countersink on these, and I'm thinking, why is that in the same orientation as these? You know, that's supposed to be over here. And sure enough, I flipped it over and looked, and there was my cross, and there was my punch mark. Wilbur visited the shop. Somebody, Bozo visited some YouTube character was here. But it's going to be fine. It's still going to be a good part. And if it really bothers me, I'll fill it up with JB Weld. At least the side that faces out. And sand it down, paint it purple. But I think I'll just leave it where it is. So the reason you didn't see any of that is because my GoPro camera, which was donated to the channel by Walter the White Van on Instagram, all 3 batteries were dead. So normally I take a battery out and I put it right on the charger, unless it's hot. And if it's a little hot, I'll let it rest for a few minutes and cool off before I plug it in. Don't know if that makes a difference of anything or not, but so I'm left it a long 1/4 tap, 1 inch deep, and I can't say how deep the 1/4 is. It's actually going to be less than a 1/2 inch, I think, total. But I think I'll have plenty of thread engagement in both cases, even though I chamfered away most of the threads on this piece. and I drilled a hole in the wrong place on this one. It's still going to be a good looking part. And we're going to come up with something fancy, you know, like a big knurled knob or something. Maybe something to match the clutch handles, like a big daisy knob or something. Real sugar. Got a decent way to show this to you, but the level underneath these is not exactly, well, that looks pretty level. What the hell was I looking at before? There it is. You see, I can make it level, but you see over here, where do we want that at? Here? No. So we want it to be, it's going to be a little bit off. I wouldn't do this. Why not? What if I grooved it? Yeah, I think if I put a groove on this side here. Oh. It's a bozo's hole. All right. I think everything there is going to be good. Kind of a spur of the minute thing. I was telling my wife earlier that some of the early things that I did kind of blows me away. And I don't know where that came from. I mean, I was doing stuff when I just started that was kind of brilliant. For instance, this system here for adjusting my tracking here, my gib, absence of, but I got 6 ball bearings there, doing lateral and up and down and side to side adjustments. And I probably did that the first 6 months I owned the thing. Now my first version of this carriage lock didn't look as pretty as it does there. But the dirty secret is only one of these cap head screws is doing anything, because the other holes wallered out so much from misaligning the drill and yeah, and this block here, I used to have plates that sat up here and kept this thing locked in so it couldn't move. Then I decided that it was beneficial to have it move sometimes and removed them. Okay, I think we're going to end this here. We'll do we'll do the installation maybe, or maybe we'll just install it and show it to you when it's done. I'm not sure if yeah, well, we'll see. So later on, guys.